Welcome back to the Girl Out of Order podcast. You're probably noticing that this looks a little different than it normally does. And I would imagine you've noticed that the sound is probably not up to the quality that you're used to, and certainly not the quality that I want to typically give my community. But I'm showing up today in a very different state, and I just can't wait to share with you what's on my heart. So I would ask that today in this podcast, you give me grace to be clunky, grace to not have perfect sound, grace because I have no idea who's going to walk behind me at any point, grace because you can see that numbers are backwards because I'm at the Las Vegas airport. And I was supposed to, or at least I had planned to, drop this podcast yesterday. And my heart kept saying, oh, go record the podcast, go record the podcast. And I just couldn't bring myself to detach from the magic that was happening. And I'll tell you about that in a minute, to do the podcast. And I know that I was divinely guided to this moment in this weird location at this exact time to give you, my beautiful listener, this exact message. So I hope you will bear with me. I hope that you won't turn off the podcast because it doesn't sound right. And I hope you won't click off of it if it looks weird, because I'm showing up as Christine Gale, the girl out of order, doing things so differently, but speaking to you. I'm going to really try hard to get through this without crying, but I am speaking to you with raw emotion, with a realness that is unlike anything I have maybe ever felt, because I just had one of the most unique experiences of my life. And I'm so excited to share with you the message called Become the She You Are Seeking. I know you're going to hit me up and join my Facebook community, so I don't need to keep plugging it, but I'm inviting you in to the community because we have to band together as women to change our hurting world. If ever there was a time that women were more needed to change this world, one collective, one community at a time, it is now, sisters. So come join us. Come be a part of a movement that we are all collectively creating. Become a girl out of order. Join our Facebook community and let's start changing this world. So why am I in the Las Vegas airport? Why am I recording this with no makeup? Well, okay, I have a little bit of makeup on. I gotta be super honest with you. With a weird background and odd sound because if you're on YouTube, you'll see my AirPods are in. I tried to put it on my computer, but it didn't work. Why am I here? Because I just came out of one of the most transformative experiences, immersive experiences of my life. I just finished up a 4-day immersion called True Voice Intensive with my True Legacy Collective mastermind sisters. There were at least 40 of us, if you can forget, a lot of women. And the majority of us were in one house. And then we had a couple other houses. I have literally not stayed in a room with a bunch of females since I was probably maybe 12. And I was in a room with 7 other women. There were 8 of us in one room in 8 different bunk beds. And to say that this entire experience was stretching does not do it justice. And it has nothing to do with the bunk bed. It's just I'm setting the stage for this beautiful experience. If you recall, if you've been listening to me for any length of time, back in February, I had the honor to attend the True Voice Intensive that Lauren Lahav puts on, where I thought going into it, it was about honing my talk and getting on stage because I'm going to be a public speaker. But what I got was the gift of finding my true voice, of being able to tap into the story that I have been afraid my entire life to tell. And then it culminated with me being blessed to win the Ruby Slipper Award and get to speak on the stage at Lauren Lahav's Own Your Worth conference in March. The Own Your Worth conference was obviously mind-blowing for me and just like an out-of-body experience. But it was the True Voice Intensive that changed me as a person, that unleashed me as a woman, and that tapped into parts of me that I truly did not know existed, or parts of me that I thought had died. And the True Voice Intensive resurrected those parts of me and shone the light on other parts of me that I didn't know were there. And since February, I have been on such an unbelievable trajectory of growth that I don't even think I realized until this weekend, because I look back at that woman who entered the True Voice Intensive in February, and I love her. I honor her, but I don't recognize her in me anymore. And I'm so grateful. And so this weekend, Wyatt, you're like, well, you just did this True Voice Intensive. What were you doing another one? Well, this is part of this True Legacy Collective Mastermind that Lauren Lahav runs. And last year there were 18 women in it. And this year, I believe there's 36 women. She's literally doubled it. This woman has a vision for the power of the woman that I've never seen before. And she is doing massive work in herself. She's creating what she needs, and she's multiplying it. And she is helping so many of us equip, unleash, tap into, so that we can also go out and help change the world and help transform other women, because there is something unmatched about the power of the womanhood. You all know that at Girl Out of Order, I'm about building bridges among all women, no matter what separates us. We have so much in common, and we come together and we build those bridges. Lives change, families change, cities change, states change, communities change, countries change, and the world shifts. And so this weekend we had another True Voice Intensive, and we had what was called 1.0 is for the women in the mastermind who hadn't taken True Voice before. And then we had 2.0, which was for those of us who had graduated. And I was deeply, deeply, deeply honored to be asked to be a mentor for some of the 1.0s, some of my new sisters. And it stretched me. And it opened my heart. It cracked my heart wide open. It also shone the light on some areas that I know I need to improve on, ways that I can be a better bridge builder, ways that I can be less judgmental and more open to being divinely guided in my relationships with other women. This weekend changed me forever. And I am propelled to share this message. And I want you to be open to hearing it, to receiving it, and to understand, like Lauren Lahav says, I will hug you. I'm going to kick you in the butt at the same time. That's not my quote, but that is how I show up in the world. And so, sister, you need to become the she you're seeking. You need to become the woman that you want to draw to yourself. And what I realized this weekend is that if I look back on my life, even a year ago, a year ago, I had a tiny fraction of the amount of friends and connections with other female human beings that I have right now. And I now understand That it is not because I went out and asked people out for coffee, although I did that, or joined certain groups, although I did that. It's because I became the, pardon my French, the fucking woman that I wanted to surround myself with. I became the she that I have been seeking my entire life. I am still becoming her. I am still unfolding. I am still emerging, but I stopped complaining about not having female connections, and I became the female I wanted to connect with. And you know what happened? Those connections started to form. Yes, I had to do the work. Yes, I had to be brave. Yes, I had to step out of my comfort zone. Yes, I had to put in the time to be present, to listen, to ask questions, to be willing to step into something that's uncomfortable, conversations that sometimes you want to shy away from. But you know what? All of that's secondary to become the person that has the values and the commitment and the loyalty and the vision and the passion and the humor that I want in my life. If you've heard about manifestation boards, if you've heard about quantum physics, which, please, sweet Jesus, I do not understand the quantum field at all, but I do understand the power of manifesting and of creating, like my friend Kathy says, creating the one, whether it's the one mission, the one sports goal, the one relationship. I understand that we create in our mind what we want, and then our energies flow towards that goal, that manifestation. And I think I was an unconscious manifester. Yep, I really think that's what I was. I was an unconscious manifester because I knew that I had a hunger for female relationships. Obviously, I didn't create Girl Out of Order to accomplish anything. I created, like Lauren Lahav created TLC, our mastermind. She created it because she longed for those deep female connections that would also fuel her mission. I created Girl Out of Order because I wanted to create something that was a safe container for me to be authentically myself and not give two F's when anyone thinks about my choices, my decisions, my values, my essence, my humor, because I wanted to live congruent with who I am and aligned with my most deeply held values. So I created Girl Out of Order, a safe place where women will no longer shrink back from their true, authentic selves. Will go out into this world and build their freaking dream lives of connection and impact and growth and contribution, because we need each other. So this weekend pushed me to my physical limits. I'm telling you, I'm watching me on YouTube. You can see I look different. I am different, but I'm showing it on YouTube. I've got cuts all over my hand. I've got broken nails because I freaking climbed a mountain and I conquered my fears of falling. And I trusted that the ledge was where my sister said it was when I couldn't see it. And I broke nails, trusting them to find it. And I scraped my hand and stuffed down some of my deepest fears because I trusted when my sister said, "You're safe. It's right there. Just take the next right step. Put your hand here. Straighten your leg there. I can see the ledge that you need to grab hold of to get to your next level." That was my friend, Dr. Wren. And when she told, see, here's the thing. When you become the she you're seeking, when you become the woman that you want in your life, and those women start showing up, sometimes you don't even realize that they're there for you when you need them. Sometimes you don't even realize it until you get on the other side of whatever it is you needed them for. Because you see, when I was climbing that rock, I got stuck. halfway up this mountain, and I thought to myself, mother of, okay, couple swear words, maybe more than a couple. I was like, this is fine. This is it. Finally, I'm just going to fail. I'm going to fail at something. This really sucks. I've got all these women down there cheering for me and I'm going to fail. I really felt in that moment that I couldn't do what I needed to do to get to the next step. And then something in me switched and I felt this pull towards the ledge. But what I didn't realize is that my friend Ren was actually at the top of the mountain looking down at me. I don't even think, I mean, I don't remember hearing her voice, but she told me later she was at the top looking down on me. And from her vantage point, she could see the ledge I needed to grab hold of to get to that next step. And because of her, I was able to go out in trust. And damn it, it was worth breaking my new nails for, I'm telling you. And when she told me that, I thought, holy smokes, that's what a female collective is about. That like embodies it. But it gets even better because Dr. Ren is powerful. She is a Harvard educated OBGYN. She runs a nonprofit for mamas and babies in Detroit. She is the kind of woman that I used to only dream about having in my life. We didn't grow up the same. We don't have the same skin color. She dances a hell of a lot better than me. In some worlds, we wouldn't make sense. But because we're both becoming the she's that we're seeking, we found each other. And Dr. Ren, I don't even know if it's for her nonprofit or if it's just her way of approaching womanhood. But she talks a lot about shero. I think she has a course, and she talks about becoming a shero. And I was like, a shero. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I'm sorry, you're going to see these people behind me, but that's fine. Just ignore them because it is an airport after all. And I'm really sorry about that. I think I dropped you as well, but that's okay. Anyway, so Dr. Ren, she talked a lot about being a shero, and she's my shero. And she has a story. And it's a story that is so improbable if you look at her life and you look at her education and you look at her profession, you'd never guess. And it's her story to tell. But suffice it to say that it would be very easy. It would be very easy to decide that she's out of your reach. Let's put it that way. It'd be very easy to decide she's out of your league. It'd be very easy to say, oh my gosh, like she's the kind of person I want to be. Like almost like, oh, if you want to be a musician and you're like you'd want to hang out with Taylor Swift. Okay, that's my best analogy I can come up with. I've had very little sleep, so give me some grace there. But I became the kind of woman who was so dialed into her values, who had big dreams, who has an incredible mission to serve women and to build bridges. So I became the woman that I was seeking. And Dr. Ren is now in my life, and I'm never letting her go. So I ask you, are you becoming the kind of woman that you want in your life? Or are you devoting your energy to, forgive me for this, but bitching and complaining about what you don't have? Feeling sorry for yourself because female friendships are hard work. Hiding because it's hard. and it's scary and it's vulnerable. You got to do as Lauren Lahav says. She has this Goya. At first, when I saw Goya, I thought it was some kind of weird herb or crystal or something, but it stands for get off your ass. So, sister, you got to get off your ass. Not only do you need to make the call, schedule the meeting, reconnect on Facebook. I don't know what it is for you, but you got to get off your ass and you got to become the kind of woman you want in your life because the world needs a female collective. And sometimes you got to throw out the rule book. Just throw it out. Sometimes you got to say, you know what? I thought it was this way. I thought I had to become like this. I thought I had to be this kind of woman. I thought I had to, um, you know, have a giant girls group. Like we go girls' nights, girls' trip. Those are fine. I fell into that trap thinking I'd see things on Facebook where women were in these parties, big book clubs, and they would be on the pontoon in the summer. Oh, all these girls. I used to think to myself, what a freaking failure at female friendships. I don't have a group of women. I don't have a girls club. I'm not doing all the things that I thought had to happen in order to be in a collective of women. What I was missing is that I was comparing myself to what I thought it looked like. And now I understand that it's all about me and creating the kind of person and people that I want in my life. And sometimes you just got to throw out the rule book. Close up by sharing the story of Michelle. Michelle's one of my TLC sisters, and she was on our trip. And before we got on this trip, we have these weekly calls for our mastermind. I had seen her on there. She's always quiet, rarely commented, kind of sitting in the background, not really participating. And I thought, I don't know how to relate to this woman. I don't know how to help draw her out. And the first night we were there, we were actually sitting across the table from one another. And I tried, girl, I tried to ask questions. I tried to pull her out. I tried to engage her, and it was just, she was quiet. You could tell she was uncomfortable. And I thought, well, especially since I was mentoring, I said, I'm going to keep an eye on this one. I'm going to keep an eye on this one. And my accountability buddy, Tracy, and I, actually, she came up to me and she said, hey, I think we need to watch so and so and so and so, just to make sure that nobody is left behind. And it was hilarious because we both had our eye on Michelle. And we both thought to ourselves, yeah, this is one that could easily get lost in the shuffle. Well, Michelle, turns out, had a certain idea of what belonging in a female collective meant. And she was playing the game that she thought she needed to play, but it wasn't natural to her. And so she just couldn't quite fit into the conversations, into the activities. She was there, she was present, she was playing full out, but she just didn't seem comfortable in her skin. So at the True Voice Intensive, we prepare talks. We pull out our stories, and sometimes it's really uncomfortable. I know for me, the story I ended up telling was not at all what I came in there thinking I was going to tell. And Michelle didn't know what her story was. She says, I have no idea what I want to talk about. I don't really have any stories. She told herself she was uninteresting, that her life was boring, but content, but she just really didn't have the wow factor. She just didn't really, she compared herself to every other woman and thought, what do I have to say? But all of us that worked with her could tell there was some serious gold that needed to be mined. And so we worked until 1, 2, sometimes almost 3 o'clock in the morning, trying to work on these stories. And although I didn't work directly with Michelle in crafting her story, I did start to watch her evolve and engage and ask questions and get curious. And she started to become the she was seeking. And so when she got up to do her talk, I thought, okay, this is going to be good. This is going to be really interesting, but uh, nothing could have prepared me for the story that Michelle shared. She brought the house down. And afterwards, I walked up to her and I hugged her and I said, Michelle, you just saved 13-year-old me. And your story is going to save more 13-year-olds than you could possibly imagine because you had the courage to step into your story and to share your raw, authentic, difficult truth. And you became the she you were seeking. And so Michelle was one of the finalists to win the Ruby Slippers and be able to speak at Own Your Worth in 2024 or 2025, excuse me, to have the honor of do what I got to do. And so today, this morning, all five of the finalists, well, went back up a little bit because holy crap. We were up until 2 a.m, reworking the talks for the top five finalists. And I was pissed off because I'm like, what are we doing? We are running these women ragged. We're going to ruin their magic, blah, 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 blah. Of course, Christine all up in her head about it and pissed off because I was tired and the women were pissed off and they were tired. But there's such a magic and a method to Lauren Love's madness. And Michelle was the last one to go. And to say she was tired would be just a gross understatement. She was not just tired. She is such a gentle person. You could tell she was pissed off. And she's like, I can't think. I can't. I can't. I'm not feeling anything because I'm just tired. And she was railing against the process, which was exactly what I did in February. I was mad and swearing and throwing at things and saying, I can't get this. I can't do this. I'm going to fail at this. And she was really up in her head. Sorry, I'm still so deeply impacted. That's why I wanted to share this while I was in the state, because I didn't want to lose the emotion that I had connected to what happened today. Because this quiet, demure, respectful woman from Missouri who always had to be the good girl, who was told that from a very young age to be quiet, to sit in the corner, to play small, stood up today. And in a moment, I watched her become the she has been seeking her whole life for herself first, and then as part of our collective. Because she stood up and she said, well, I'm throwing out all the rule book right now. And it was such a mic drop moment because this is the last woman I would have ever thought would say, fuck it, the rules are gone. I'm going to do it my way. And this woman dropped a firebomb in that room. And I'm so proud of her for winning what are now Ruby Boots. And she gets the honor of taking the stage at Own Your Worth in 2025. And it is so well deserved. Why do I share that? Because this woman came into this weekend completely closed off. Maybe not completely, but largely closed off. But hungry for belonging, looking for evidence that this was her sisterhood, but telling herself she didn't fit in. And along the way, when the masks started coming off and the labels started being ripped right off, Miss Michelle emerged as a badass and beautiful woman dialed into who she is and becoming the woman that she wants to surround herself with. And I'm so glad I get to be on that ride with her because it's going to be amazing. And she is a completely different person than I saw 4 days ago, sitting quietly, barely speaking a word. So is that you, sister? Are you that one who sits on the sidelines and really longs to be in the game? Are you the one that scrolls through Facebook or Instagram or TikTok and sees people out doing all the things in big groups of women and wondering, why not me? Will I always be alone? I'm sorry if you can hear the crinkling bag airport noise. But I mean, seriously, I need you to contemplate that. Because if we're going to build bridges, if we're going to create a community of women that can truly change the world, a community of women, of girls out of order, it starts with you and it starts with me. We have to become the she we're seeking. Because when you do, and you start building a collective, a container of women that are surrounding you and building you up and lifting you up, and women that you get to serve and love and lean into and create space for, your life will go to the next level. So are you ready to become your own shero? Are you ready to become the she that you are seeking to have in your life, that you are longing for? If so, start looking inward. And I don't want any eye rolls, but open up your journal, grab your pen, and just start writing out. If you had a collective of women, a group of women that of your dreams, the friends of your dreams, what would they look like? How would they speak? What would they do? Where would they go? How would they believe? How do they pray? List it all out. Don't get in your head. Just list it all out. Write. And then close the journal. Stick it under your pillow, sleep on it. And then start becoming her. One day at a time, one step at a time, 1 2 millimeter shift at a time. I promise you, I am living the dream. Because a year ago, not only did I not have 90% of these women in my life, but I didn't even know who I was looking for. And then I became her. And my life is more blessed, more enriched, more exciting, and more full of potential than I ever dreamed. I'm going to wrap up because I'm now starting to get surrounded by people who are talking and crinkling their bags. And so if you can hear that, I do apologize. Thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for your mercy. Thank you for your love. I am truly living my dream, and I want the same for you. So become the she you're seeking. I'll be with you for the entire wild ride. I love you. We're in this together. Till next time, keep being a girl out of order.